Hi class, welcome back to our plot notes. Today we're going to talk about rising action, and that is the second stage of plot. Make sure that you're continuing these notes on the Cornell note sheet that has plot from yesterday on it. So rising action is our second stage of plot. It builds suspense. It adds on to the main conflict. The conflict gets harder for the major character, and more than one event happens here. So in the exposition, you might have had one or two things happen to the characters, but in the rising action, especially in longer stories and longer shorter stories, we have more than one event happen. You want to make sure that you recognize this and you don't just place one event in the rising action stage. The first event that happens in our rising action stage right after our exposition is on line 52 and 53 in the school play. Miss Bunnan says, "Louder, make sure the audience can hear you." Here we see that Robert is having a problem speaking loudly, and he might have a problem speaking loudly in front of the whole audience and not just at rehearsal. The next thing that happens that adds conflict for Robert is that Miss Bunnan scolds him and says, "Robert, I'm not going to tell you again to quit fooling with that beard." His beard is getting really itchy because it's a prop. It's his costume. And if you imagine the itchy beard on his face that he's not used to having because he's only in 6th grade, then it's a conflict for him because he's trying to say his lines, but he cannot focus on them because of the beard. A lot is also riding on this play for Robert. First of all, Mrs. Bunnan wanted this play to be a success. And second of all, Robert's mom was proud of him, so he had a lot of people to impress. He even wanted to impress himself because he wanted to be someone with a super great memory. So he had a lot to live up to, all of these dreams and aspirations. So to review, here are the events that add to Robert's main conflict so far. We have Robert's itchy beard, Mrs. Bunnan, who needs this play to be successful, Robert's mom, who's so proud of Robert for being an actor, Robert's dreams of having a super great memory, and don't forget Belinda, our bully, who's threatening Robert that if he messes up, he's going to regret life. Poor Robert, he's got a lot of conflicts to deal with, especially this main one of him remembering his lines for the school play. A lot of people are depending on him, even himself. So here's that word again, conflict. And if you remember from yesterday, conflict means problem. Now, there are two different types of conflict, internal and external. Let's talk about internal conflict first. Internal conflict is where a character is having a conflict with themselves. Nobody else, nothing else, just them. They usually have to make a decision, or it could be a fear that they have. An internal conflict is only character versus self. So only themselves. That's a very important term to know. So which conflict up here is an internal conflict for Robert? Well, Robert's dreams are only with himself, and remembering his lines are only with himself because it depends on Robert to remember his own lines. So our main conflict is actually an internal conflict, and then an event that leads up to his internal conflict is also an internal conflict, which are Robert's dreams. External conflict is where a character has a conflict with another person, thing, or nature. This means that the other person, thing, or nature is causing conflict for the character. Not that they're scared of nature, because that would be internal, but that nature is causing problems for the character. So these are called character versus character and character versus nature. The external conflicts here are Robert's itchy beard, Mrs. Bunnan wanting the school play to go well, Robert's mom being proud of Robert, and Belinda. All of these are causing conflict for Robert in remembering his lines for the school play. So we've gone over 2 stages of plot already, exposition, rising action, and we have 3 more to go. See you guys tomorrow for more.